A surprise video on Thursday? No way. But all right, let's talk about what happened with Jerome Powell. Yesterday, he went over to Congress and did his biannual meeting, basically a testimony talking about everything about the Federal Reserve. Okay, they have basically have to give a statement from the Federal Reserve to the Congress and such. And it was horrible. It was horrible. Okay, so first things first, we have to, we have to talk about how he punted on every single level. Okay, he did not really answer any questions. He did not give us new information. He did not really give us anything to improve the standing that we are at. Okay, so nothing that we can really do with this sort of information that he gave us. Usually, Jerome Powell, whenever he actually comes out, he actually do give us a little bit of a sneak peek, a little bit of what the Federal Reserve is thinking. Okay, like maybe there would be more rate hikes. Maybe they might want to taper the balance sheet a little bit more. And like, there was nothing. Okay, even if you were to look at your Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg and such, you cannot really find new information there because basically all this information are already out there. Okay, something that really caught my eye was basically he said that he was persuaded that it was important for them to make this move and not wait and telegraph to do it 6 weeks later. He was actually referring to the 75 basis point increment from the previous FOMC meeting, and of course, definitely when you actually see an 8.6% inflation increment, I would imagine that any Federal Reserve chairman would think that, okay, you know what, 50 basis points is not going to make any sense at all. So let's hike it up. Okay, but you have to understand, right now, the federal funds rate is at a range of 1.5 to 1.75, okay, so 1.6%, around there to take the medium or so. If you're saying that the current FFR is at 1.6% and the current inflation is at 8.6%, there is a very, very huge divide. There's a huge bridge for us to really pass, okay? And it's very hard for you to really go through that. So, of course, the senators who actually came up gave very, very hard questions to Jerome Powell. All of them actually surrounded with 3 different topics. The first one is interest rate, the second is inflation, and the third is oil prices. Okay, the first one, interest rate, I think is very, very obvious that they want to talk about interest rates. They want to talk about why Jerome Powell is not really increasing the interest rates. Of course, Jerome Powell also kind of, to a certain extent, admit that he already kind of screwed up a little bit, thinking that inflation was going to be transitory. And of course, same thing here. I'm going to just admit outright right now, okay, that I also thought that inflation was going to be transitory until I U-turned, I think back in September of 2021. I thought that, yeah, I don't think this is going to be working out. I think inflation is going to hit hard. Okay, so that was that. Okay, and afterwards, of course, interest rate is definitely a huge thing. And people are thinking, why is Jerome Powell not increasing the interest rate harder than expected? Because 0.75%, okay, a 75 basis point increment is not going to be enough. Okay, your federal fund rate right now, your FFR is at 1.6%, interest rate is at, inflation is at 8.6%. And of course, Jerome Powell basically came out to say, yeah, but at the same time, we think that inflation is not that important. We think that core inflation data is more important. But that's just, it's still bad. Okay, the core inflation is at what, 5.6%? Okay, it's still ridiculously high. Okay, it's not as if like, oh, core inflation is all the way down. Okay, the only thing that's going up is basically just your airline fares and such. No, okay, you have your oil prices up there, you have your food prices up there, you have real estate, you have rental, you have shelters, all of them are going up in price as well. Okay, so that was a horrible, horrible thing. So secondly, let's talk about inflation. Okay, all the senators basically brought up inflation, and I think that is a very, very evident thing for us to really do. Okay, inflation is definitely going up and up. Okay, and of course, with Biden trying to do a gas holiday or whatever it is, okay, I don't think that makes sense. Okay, but of course, he want to do anything he can to get a second term in office. I'm not gonna judge him. Go for it, but you're just gonna destroy inflation even more. But hey, I'm not the president of the United States. I don't know. Okay, so of course, inflation is definitely going to be very, very tough. Okay, we are not expecting inflation to inflect down harshly in the following months either. Okay, and 2 months ago in the CPI report, a new term was actually crowned as one of the most important buzzwords for inflation, which was basically an inflation plateau. Okay, and the inflation plateau, Usually you take about 3 to 4 months for us to really see where the direction of this inflation actually wants to go. And from 2 months ago, when we actually saw the inflation, basically there wasn't really too much of a move. And last month, clearly it kind of went up again. And then this month, we're expecting it to kind of go down a little bit. And we are kind of going through with this whole entire plateau. And that's, of course, the concern that we have in the market. Okay, if we are going through an inflation plateau, if we're at 2%, no one's going to say anything, all right? We're going to go smooth sailing all the way. But if we're plateauing at 8%, then how high must our FFR be? And that's going to be the problem here. So, of course, inflation, like I said, I think we all already understand the issue there. Oil prices, okay? All the senators from all the different states basically came out and say, our people have been paying $5 a gallon, $6 a gallon, $7 a gallon for some places. This is impossible. You need to bring oil prices down. And the only way for you to actually bring oil prices down, there's only two ways. One is to increase the supply of oil, or two, to bring down the demand of oil. Okay, and two of them are basically not up to the Federal Reserve. And of course, I get that Jerome Powell punted on this, saying that, this is a free market, there's nothing much he can do. But like I said before, I think that Jerome Powell punted on so many different questions to a point where people are losing credibility in Jerome Powell. And that's my fear, because whatever is going to be coming up for the next FOMC meeting, we might not care. Okay, we're going to look at the results, but we're not going to care about the guidance that the Federal Reserve are going to give to the market. Because whatever they're going to say, it doesn't make sense. And imagine this, okay? Jerome Powell is saying that the consumer market is strong, spending is still up, okay? That is fine. And let's just say, in a hypothetical world that what Jerome Powell said is actually true, then why can't we just raise more rates? Okay, I don't get it. Because if that were to be the case, he can just go 200 basis point for one of the FOMC. And of course, that's going to pull the market, but according to his whole own hypothesis, that the market consumer spending is going up. Then there is no concern whatsoever here, right? And that's why I think that, Jerome Powell is starting to lose a little bit of credibility, and that's going to be affecting the market as well. Okay, so of course, I think it's going to be a very, very hard road up ahead. Honestly speaking, I think that Jerome Powell did not really give us new information. If you want to read all the different articles on the Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, CNBC, the New York Times, whatever it is, you're not going to find any new information that wasn't already out in the last 2 months. We know that inflation is up. We know interest rates are going to be going up. We know that this can easily cause a recession. Okay, high interest rates, we know it can cause a recession. It's not new information whatsoever. So yeah, but anyway, I think that's just like a little bit of a cover of what actually happened, and also a little bit of like a mini rant on what Jerome Powell did. But anyway, that's all I have for today's news. Well, not today's news, today's video. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video. Anyway, yeah, just to let you guys know, I'm not doing daily videos anymore. So I'm going to be uploading every Wednesday and every Saturday, sometimes in between if I do have any urgent content to actually upload, like today. So yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll